Hi, this is Nick. I'm at Peach Guitars today and we're here to check out the American Ultra 2 basses. Okay, so this is the American Ultra Precision bass. This is the second iteration of that, so it's the American Ultra 2 series. I'm just going to go and play through a few of the features of this bass and let you know what I think. So I've got it set to passive to begin with, and I'm going to use the neck pickup to begin. Really nice fat P bass sound. It's exactly what you want from a passive Fender, and these noiseless pickups are awesome. Really nice sort of like gut punch of a P bass sound, which I really like. Okay, now I'm going to go to both pickups, still in passive. Okay, sounds awesome. It just sounds so much different to a jazz bass. You'd expect having two pickups in this configuration, it might be very similar in sound, but that P bass pickup there really gives it a different characteristic. You get kind of that Duff McKagan sound. So the next thing I'm going to go to is going to go to the bridge pickup. Really cool. We've got that Jacko growl there, which sounds really awesome. And again, just the level of these pickups and the quality is so good. I just get this kind of, almost this sort of immediate bass level kind of coolness. There's nothing that is, there's not a bad sound you can get from this so far, even as a passive instrument. So everything and every pickup selection you get is just really strong and usable as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to engage the active electronics in this. So there's a little button here, which is already depressed. So a bit confusing. You'd think if you pushed it in, it might be active, but that's actually the wrong way around. So what you want to try and do is push this so that the actual button comes out, and then it's active. Then it engages these elements here. So the big outer ring here is actually going to be your tone control. And then you've got a mid boost here, which is the active electronics. Then you've got a bass boost here and then a treble boost here. We also have this little part here, which gives you a unique kind of mid boost frequency, which we'll also explore. All right, so I'm just going to have a little work on increasing the mid range here. So I'm going to put it up full just so you can hear the difference between the two. That's really interesting. So what the mid frequency does there, it kind of widens the Q of the frequency. So you're cutting out a little bit of bass and a little bit of treble, and it just focuses it a bit more. So if I was to kind of roll back on this a little bit, it kind of sounds more like a stingray, especially on this bridge pickup here. So let's try it with the middle position. Really cool. So again, just kind of even subtle adjustments to the active electronics can give you just a different sort of soundscape, which is brilliant. Now again, this is with it sort of cut. Now we're getting into sort of like dub reggae territory. I mean, the ability to be able to get all those different sounds just from your fingertips, I think is incredible. So again, that's something I really, really like about this. Right, let's going to have a look at the bass and treble. So I'm going to give the bass boost a little bit here, and then I'm going to cut the treble a bit, and we're going to go for something a bit soulful. So again, you can hear how much bassier it is, and also with the treble cut, it kind of adds that bass sound you'd hear on a lot of old soul records, where the bass really sits in the mix and sort of gives you a backbone. Just to talk a little bit about the bass itself, this finish is called Avalanche, which I think is such a cool way of describing white. And it's kind of like a grey white, but also it's got a really cool kind of frosty character to it. And that with the silver anodized guard on there, it's just a really cool look. The neck feels like a modern D, which I really like. Again, it's just really comfortable, it's not chunky, it's just a really cool, solid sounding, solid feeling, neck. And I believe you've got two options of this. You've got the ebony option and you've also got the maple option. Now the maple one here is quarter sawn. So quarter sawn is the strongest part of the tree. So when they put it on the neck of a guitar, it means that you don't have to do neck adjustments every time it turns winter or heats up for summer again. So you won't need to set this instrument up as much as you think. Sweet, so I'm going to try out this mid frequency adjustment here. So that's this little part here. Now, it says here there's a mid range and it's selected here at 750 Hertz. I'm now going to do the 325. So it should give me a bit more of a low mid boost. That's got a lot of punch to it. I really like that. So let's just go between the two. So if I actually hold a note and then switch. Very subtle, but you can hear a slight shift in the characteristic there of the mid frequency. I quite like it on this one here, which is the 325 Hertz. Absolutely fantastic. So again, having a high mass bridge here is also really important because one, if you've got a high mass bridge, you've got loads more room for your saddles to actually maneuver, especially if you use higher gauge strings. Sometimes you need a lot more movement, and with a lot of vintage style bridges you don't get that. But you get that here with this, and it's just absolutely solid. It's securing your string really well, and that's such an important part. So again, I really, really like that. The other thing I've noticed is that you've got a tusked nut. All right, so tusked nuts are really, really well built. It's a lot different from what Fender have used in the past, but ones I've used and some tusked nuts I've used are self-lubricating, so you have no issues with strings sticking right there, which can cause tuning issues. So that's really cool. Anyway, I'll just play you through some of what I thought are my favourite sounds on this. So I think the active side of it is really, really good. It's really useful as well. Kind of saves you having to change between an amp, so you've got all the different sounds you'd ever need right here. So I quite like it with the neck pickup, and I'm going to put a bit of a mid scoop there. I'm going to increase the bass, and I'll put the treble just above flat. Okay, so we're going to take a little look now at the jazz bass version of the American Ultra 2 series, and this is in a really cool colour called Noble Blue. So I'm going to just work through the passive sounds in a minute, and then I'm going to let you know what I think. First impressions is this just sounds like an amazing jazz bass. It's a really well balanced instrument, it feels light, the neck is super comfortable to play here. Again, I think this is a jazz bass version of a modern D. It just feels really, really good, and this is a lovely piece of ebony on top as well, really dark. It's exactly what you want when you buy a guitar that's got an ebony board. Alright, cool, so that's with both pickups on. I'm just going to use the neck pickup now. Really cool, and again, I love the fact that with a jazz bass you can get a sort of an early 50s P bass sound with it. It's that same same pickup sort of that they've got on those early 50s P basses. It just sounds really nice and sort of boomy, but it's also got some clarity to it as well, which is really cool. So now I'm going to go to the neck pickup, sorry, not neck pickup, I'm going to go to the bridge pickup. Again, really, really nice, like jazz bass growls, that classic growl we all look for. Kind of hear it when you hear like Jaco Pastorius play. Right, let's explore some of the actual active electronic side of it all. So I'm going to go back to both pickups, disengage that so it engages the active electronics. And now let's see if we can put a bit of a mid-range boost to this. Again, immediately it's quite nice, which is really cool. So it's lovely to actually sort of hear this instrument with a bit more mid. I mean, jazz basses do have quite a bit of a mid punch to them, so when you really kind of dial that mid in there, it's really coming alive. That's with the mid boost. If I tailor it back, this is how jazz bass usually would sound. It's got a bit more of a kick when you actually put that mid boost in there, which is great. So let's see what it sounds like with a bit of the mid cut. I'm also going to bring the treble back a little bit as well. It's really nice, especially if you're playing in a band with a few guitarists, to have this sort of scooped sound is a really, really cool way of just fitting into the mix a bit nicer. And if I try and use a pick, I reckon it'll sound really cool. Again, wicked. I'd use this for pick anytime. Just a bit of a mid scoop, and it's really, really cool. It still stays zingy as well, even with a bit of a treble cut there. So I'm going to put that mid boost back to center, and I'm actually going to boost the bass now. Let's see if we can do a bit of soul music, and I'm going to go to the neck pickup here as well. Really cool, lovely and subtle, and it's exactly what you want when you're playing that sort of music. So immediately we're already getting some wicked sounds that we could use at any gig, and it just really feels nice. So just going again to some of the specs on this bass, you've got those noiseless pickups, which are so handy. The amount of times I've been on stage with loads of big Marshall stacks, and if you've got single cores, it's just going to pick up all that hum from the transformers and the rectifiers, so you've just got, you're covered here when you've got these pickups. The high mass bridge on this is really good as well, it's nice and solid, and again, if you use high gauge strings, you've got enough room there to bring it back so you're correctly intonated properly. This neck just feels solid. That's exactly what you want when you pick up any bass. You don't want a neck that kind of feels like it could snap off if you play it too hard. Just everything feels really good. And this Noble Blue, it's kind of just like the ocean, really. It's amazing, absolutely fantastic. You take a swim in that for sure. All right, cool. Just going to do a few more bits. I think the next thing we're going to look at is the mid-frequency control. So I had it set to 325 hertz. I'm now going to set it to 750 hertz, and I'm going to bring that bass back and the treble back so you can kind of hear it a bit clearly now. All right, this is what it was before. And again. So I really like that. I think that's quite interesting. So you've actually got, when you've got the 750 hertz here on a jazz bass, it tidies up the actual high frequency register a bit more. But on the P bass, I found it was the opposite. The 325 worked a lot nicer. So again, just shows you how different these instruments are really. They've all got their own characteristics and they all match, you know, just different players and different styles. Well, I've had really good fun playing these instruments today. It's lovely to play some modern instruments that really do kick butt. So if you want any more information about these basses, please visit peachguitars.com and you can then look at the instrument you like and get a full listing of the specs that are included in the instrument. Until next time.